Welcome to Learned in Go-Go, the podcast. Hey, this is Sydney A. Happy Thursday, guys. I missed you so much last week. I'm so happy to be back on here, but full transparency, okay, this is a new laptop, so if you can't hear me, please let me know. And also, for some reason, StreamYard today, the platform that I use to do this, isn't letting me click on things. So like to start it, I had to click like 4 times before it connected. And then to play my theme song, so I don't know what's going on. So please be patient with me this evening. And I'm so glad you guys are here. Welcome, Luna Projects. Hey, so happy that you are here. And Dustin, I'm so happy that you are here too. And thank you for letting me know that you can hear me. I very much appreciate that. So let's see. It has been 2 weeks. 2 weeks since we have gathered here on a Thursday evening, and I appreciate everyone's understanding last week. For exciting reasons, I wasn't able to hop on here. I was actually in New York State filming a Troma movie, which was super awesome, with a couple of my friends. You guys know Johnny Necro and my other friend Ren. And I want to give Johnny a shout out for my awesome new shirt that he gave me. I don't know if you guys can see. So if you've known me for a little bit, you know one of my absolute favorite phrases is when the tide comes in, all ships rise. Because that means when we all are lifting each other up, we all get better. And I say it all the time. So he made me at my very own All Ships Rise shirt, and I absolutely love it. And it's got a badass female pirate, like, wow. So I dig that. But because we were kind of in the middle of nowhere with spotty reception, and I wasn't able to drive and read comments, so I decided to err on the side of safety. And as much as it hurt my heart, I missed you guys last week. So put in the comments, what have you been up to? What is new? What is exciting? As I mentioned, I got to be in an actual film for an actual film company, which is super duper exciting. I absolutely have been having a blast with all of the indie films I've been doing. Like, I'm not discrediting them at all. They are fantastic, having so much fun with them. But to say I was in a Troma film is pretty badass. And if you are not familiar with Troma, it's like Dustin was in my brain. He said, "What is Troma? What movie? What did you play?" I was getting there, but I appreciate that you are sharing my brain cells. So Troma is a company that turned 50 this year. And you may know them for such hits as The Toxic Avenger and Class of Nukem High. They're probably their most known movies, but they have literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of movies that are so cool, so unlike any movie that you would ever see. They're a completely different animal of film. They're awesome. I love them. And so the film that I am going to be in, I can't wait until it comes out, is called The Power of Positive Murder. And I named her Militia. And it's Malicia. So kind of like Malice and Morticia had a baby. So I'm Militia. And actually, I can show you if, see, StreamYard and I are going to be throwing hands pretty soon. Yes, this is Militia. She was so much fun to play. So it's a like a Cretan terrorist, which is pretty cool. And so I was Militia. Johnny was Necrosis, I'm pretty sure. I'm sorry if I'm wrong. Hop on here, Johnny, and tell me. And Ren was Lois Lousy. So we were terrorists in the movie. It's a whole lot of fun. but I'm not going to lie, I am still in so much pain. What? It's frustrating because I have to admit I'm getting older, but from like being standing up and hitting the ground, up and down and up and down, I'm like, damn. But it's okay. I would do it again in a heartbeat. And Dustin says he loves the name and the look. Thank you. I had so much fun with the look. I don't know if I did upload an after. I don't think I did, but this is the three of us. I loved it. It was so much fun. Yeah, that's after. You can see I'm a little bloody there. Because one thing that trauma movies have is gallons and gallons and gallons of blood. So it was really fun. That was a lot of fun. Excuse me, God, that snuck up on me. So anybody that is joining us tonight, why don't you put your favorite horror movie, like points for slasher bloody movies? Put that in the comments, because I know there are some people that don't like horror, but usually somebody has a favorite, and especially because tomorrow's Friday the 13th, guys. So we got to have like a little bit of a horror movie shout out. And I got to meet James Stokes, who plays Jason Voorhees in some of the Friday the 13th movies. I met him in April, and he is just a stand-up amazing guy. So kudos to Jason Voorhees too. All right, Luna Project says, favorite is difficult. I love The Exorcist. All right, classic horror movie. And that is like really scary, like especially the time it came out. Exorcist was like, and I heard that they had people throwing up in the theater. I don't know if this is true or just an urban legend, because they were playing in the background of the movie, they were playing the sound of like thousands of bees. And for some reason that like some people were having a physical response and like barfing. I would not want to be barfed on in the movie. I don't want to be barfed on anywhere, to be fair, but sitting there with your popcorn and then all of a sudden, whoa. Dustin says, trauma film I love is Poultrygeist, Night of the Chicken Dead. That movie was hilarious. I loved Poultrygeist. Got the hoodie. Definitely a fan. And Luna says, Evil Dead 2. Okay. Of the Evil Dead franchise, that is my favorite, followed by Army of Darkness, then the first one. Love Evil Dead 2. I've seen it hundreds of times. I could probably quote the whole film. Love it, love it, love it. And she said, I heard that too about the bees and The Exorcist. But yes, trying to think, like, Evil Dead 2 was awesome because I love Bruce Campbell, and I'm grateful that I got a chance to meet him. He called me a vile woman to my face, but I met him at a book signing, and so he wasn't doing photos though, so I kind of have the sneaky picture, that somebody took from the line, because they moved everybody through pretty quickly. But I guess when you're that famous and you have that many fans coming to see you, they have to just kind of keep it moving. So I get that. And Luna says she'd love to meet him. Keep an eye out. He does appearances. So definitely he might be at a Barnes and Noble near you soon. You never know. Dustin says Bubba Hotep. Another great, great movie. It was funny when I met him, I had my Army of Darkness shirt on and he was like, nice shirt. So I was glad he noticed. But I've also read his books too. His books are very good. The one is, I can't think of the titles right now, but I own them both. Brain fog. One has chins in it, the title. I'm not going to run out to my desk and get them, but look them up. They're good books. Yes, Luna says, of course, The Lost Boys. One of my all-time favorite movies. Another one I have seen hundreds of times. I can just do all the lines with the movie from, told you to stay off of the boardwalk. You too, off the boardwalk. From there all the way to all the damn vampires. I can do the whole movie. Love it, love it, love it. And I still have my original poster, which is down in my workout area. So that's another really good one. Oh man, I'm trying to think, because like Night of the Creeps, we used to watch at slumber parties. And I just used to love when he'd answer the phone, Thirlby. And that was a really good, like, 80s horror movie. If you're not familiar with that one, it's, the typical aliens crash and, like the things get out and start taking over the people. And then that's what turns them into, like the little aliens get in your brain and eat your brain. And then you're like a zombie and you go and kill other people so that the little larva can keep growing. But that was like a classic one with some really good one-liners in it as well. All right, let's see. Luna says, I'm a huge Stephen King fan, so The Shining, Creepshow, and many of his books turned movies. I agree, although it's funny. We used to watch Creepshow and Creepshow 2 at slumber parties. I loved Creepshow 2. I loved The Raft. I remember it being super scary and booby, but I was so excited because my husband had never seen them. So I'm like, oh, you got to see these movies. They're so great. And watching them now, I remember them being so much better. Like, I'm not saying that they're bad, but the version that I've been playing in my head for 30 years is way different than what it actually is. And I was like, oh, the Hitchhiker one still like holds up. That one was still scary. Oh, Dustin's going into a genre that I adore, horror musical. Yes, Repo the Genetic Opera is one of my favorites. Phantom of the Paradise I am not familiar with. Rocky Horror Picture Show is one of my all-time favorites for sure, as is Little Shop of Horrors. I could be here a while listing horror films. That's fair. I'm not familiar with Phantom of the Paradise, but the rest of them I absolutely agree with 100%. And Luna says, did you watch those? I'm trying to recall. Oh, Faces of Death. I remember when Faces of Death was on, I feel like I must have seen some of them at some point. Like, because everybody had the bootleg VHS of them that they would pass around, But I definitely remember what it was. That was crazy. And I also remember Rotten.com. I don't know if you guys remember that, if you're the same age as me, but we used to go on Rotten.com and look at like celebrity or like autopsies and stuff. But that was like real. And they said Faces of Death was real, but I don't know. That might have been an urban legend. But everybody had the older brother with the VHS with the Faces of Death on it. So I do remember that for sure. It's funny, there's lots of like classic horror movies that I have to catch up with, like, because I didn't get to watch them when I was growing up. So I'm trying to think, like, people talk about certain movies and I'm just like, I've never seen that, and I feel like I should definitely go back and catch up with some of those things. And of course, now that I said that, I can't think of one right now. Let's see here. Dustin says, underrated slasher film, Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I don't know that one at all. I'm going to have to write these down. That's okay. I will definitely check that out. Recently, it was yesterday or the day before, I watched on Troma Now, which is the Troma streaming service. I swear I'm not like getting paid by Troma at all. I'm just a fan. That I watched My Bloody Banjo and Eating Miss Campbell, and I will be watching both of them multiple times. I really liked both of those movies. They were really good. And Aaliyah's here. Hey, beautiful. She says, hello there, everyone. I'm so glad you could make it. Welcome. We are discussing horror movies. Tomorrow is Friday the 13th. So please, in the comments, put your favorite horror movies. You can have your favorite horror killer. You can have your favorite horror final girl, like whatever horror movie related thing you want to share. That's what we're talking about right now. And Dustin says, do you have any favorites of the slasher icons? Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Leatherface, so forth. Okay. So I like Freddy because he has some like stupid lines that make me laugh. And I'm always, you guys know I'm the mom of dad jokes. I love corny jokes. So if you're going to tell a corny joke before you slice and dice somebody, makes it more interesting to me. And like the Halloween movies, I like them, but I don't necessarily like Michael Myers because he's kind of boring. He's very slow. I don't understand why people can't outrun him. He's like dirty, dirty. You know, like he'll get to you. He's got the crochet hook in his hand. He's coming. You could have been 2 towns over by the time his slow ass got to you, but somehow he's always there. He's always going to kill you. But Freddy, I do love, and of course Jason, classic. Some interesting kills there. Um, Candyman's a good one. Candyman is a good killer. He is scary. Let's see. I'm trying to think of some more of the classic ones. Like I still haven't seen Leprechaun. Like that's supposed to be a really good one, but I haven't seen that one yet. And oh, Luna's going old school with just Dracula. So are you talking like the old like Bella, it was Bella Lugosi, right? Am I like having a brain fart? Or do you mean more like Bram Stoker where his head's a butt? Like which Dracula do you mean? That's hilarious. Dustin says Liam Regan makes amazing films. Awesome to watch both on Troma now. Yes, one of these days I'm going to meet him. I missed him at Tromathon and I missed him at the filming on Thursday. But I will catch him one of these events because I want to just say hi. And Luna's also a vote for Freddy. Maybe I should put a poll up on my page and we can do like a favorite slasher and just, you know, see who people pick as their favorite slasher as well. Let's see here. Oh, Aaliyah says Linda Blair. All right, we got, wasn't her name Reagan in The Exorcist? I can picture her. I can picture the pea soup and the head spinning around and the crucifix. Like I remember that scene. But yeah, I'm pretty sure her name was Reagan, the character. Dustin says, classics are a classic for a reason. That is true. And Luna says she loved Gary Oldman. I did too, but he had a butt. He had a big butt on his head. And she says, I also loved who was the tan Dracula. See now, I don't know what you mean, and I'm afraid I'm going to get myself into trouble. So if anybody knows what she means, you answer because I don't want to get myself into trouble. But yeah, my oldest just got Nosferatu, like the original Nosferatu on a DVD. They're very interested in the old movies and the old scary characters. So I think that's kind of cool that they're exploring those, you know, like the original Frankenstein and the original Wolfman and stuff like that. Those are awesome. And I need to go back and revisit those movies again because when I grew up, my uncle liked to watch horror movies and or like shows. So it was Creature Double Feature and it was, oh man, I can't think of, like the old shows. Why am I drawing a blank tonight on everything? See, I miss a week and then my brain just shuts down. But there was like all those ones that would come on in the middle of the day and they'd have, you know, like the people that washed up on the island of cannibals, you know, or like the Satan worshipers with the altar and the blonde woman, like you know, like just and they were black and white. So I remember growing up with those kind of classic horror things, which I wasn't allowed to watch at home. But if I was at my mom's and my uncle was watching it, I could always take a peek there. So that's pretty cool. Let's see here. Oops. Dustin says, a number of holiday slasher films I'm sure will be watched with Thanksgiving coming up and many Christmas horror films. I watched that Thanksgiving movie and it was not that bad, actually. I thought it was going to be terrible, but I enjoyed it very much. So I will have to watch that again for Thanksgiving. Oh, okay. Luna means George Hamilton. Okay. That man is made of leather. He has just been so tan for so long that he has to have like super thick skin. Either that or he has a really good spray tanner because he is dark all the time with that tan. And she says that she loved Christopher Lee as Dracula too. I'm not familiar with Christopher Lee, I don't think. But let's see here. She said she had to look it up. She couldn't think of his name with George Hamilton. As soon as you said it, I could picture him because he is like known for his tan. And that's a hard thing to keep up. Like that's something you think is a good idea when you're 20. And then by the time you're like 80, you're like, why did I do this? Like that was not a good idea. But it's still bothering me. I can't think of the other name of like the other TV show names because they were classic horror TV shows. If you can think of classic horror TV shows, stick them in the comments because I know you guys know what I'm talking about. Oh, Dustin has Thanksgiving slashers. Last Thanksgiving and Thanksgiving. I think I saw Thanksgiving. I think I saw that. And Dustin's guessing Twilight Zone. That's not what I'm thinking of. I had thought of Twilight Zone, but I'm thinking more specific horror than suspense, if that makes sense. Because it had shadows, dark shadows. That's it. I'm like, it had something with getting darker. Like I couldn't think of the name. That's it, right? Dark Shadows? I think so. But all those storylines were so funny to me. Like there would be a cave with like a satanic altar, and it's like, it's so funny. It's almost like the horror version of Gilligan's Island. That's what those shows reminded me of. Oh, okay. Luna's taking it in another direction too, because she says Scooby-Doo. And the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, also loved watching the B-grade movies that these people would critique. I love B-grade movies. They're some of the best ones. And they usually have the lines and the characters that you remember most of all because they're not as polished. And there's, they're kind of more human in a lot of ways. So that's pretty cool. Oh, you mean there was a show about the B-rated? Oh, do you mean MST3K? Mystery Science Theater 3000? Because that is a fun show to watch. I love that. Okay, Dustin's coming in with the Munsters and the Addams Family. Very good choices as well. I used to love both of those shows. I think I've seen the Munsters more than the Addams Family because I believe that they played them more. So I have more memories of watching the Munsters. Or maybe they just were on at a time when I could watch them and the Addams Family was not because this was pre-DVR. Oh, hey, Tanya. Thanks for joining us. She says B movies are the best. I'm so glad that you popped on here too. Yep, and Luna is agreeing with me. Mystery Science Theater. That is exactly right. I love that show. They have a channel on Roku that is just Mystery Science Theater all day and all night, like 24 hours a day. And when we were down the shore a couple of years ago, we just had it on all the time. We were cracking up. I love that show. And they do live tours too. If you didn't know, they come around sometimes and then we'll do them at the theater. They bring the robots and everything. It's like, I would love to go get a live MST3K experience. I think that would be awesome. Oh, yes, yes, yes. Luna is also adding HBO had Tales from the Crypt. The Crypt Keeper was such a cool puppet. The stuff that they did with him was just mind-boggling. He would smoke and he, they always had him like, and again with the dad jokes. I love the Crypt Keeper and his corny ass humor. He was the best. And they don't show that anymore. Then they put it on Fox 29 for me, but it was like, I think it was on the Fox channel and not CW or one of them, but they would play Tales from the Crypt, but they were censored because it wasn't HBO and it wasn't the same. Like shows like that you have to see in their pure form. So, Dustin has to go to bed. I understand. Have a great night. Thank you so much for hopping on with us tonight. It's always good to chat with you. Let's see. Are you afraid of the dark? That's another good one. And they had a Friday the 13th series too, with like the shop of oddities. I don't know if you guys remember that one. That was pretty cool. That's Tanya saying, I'm not on call for diaper feeding duty right now, so I'm enjoying me time. Absolutely, sweetie. You enjoy that time for sure, because it's few and far between. I remember those days. But yeah, I'm trying to, like, the Friday the 13th show had a redheaded girl and like a dude. And I remember them getting sucked into a mirror and having to fight somebody. That's all I remember of that show. I feel like it was on in the 90s. But that's cool. Thank you for chiming in with your favorite horror movie people, because I can't believe it's Friday the 13th tomorrow. But it's September this year. And one of my friends posted, this is one of the few times that Halloween falls on Friday the 13th, and people were like, that's so cool. And I'm like, are y'all dyslexic? Like, Halloween's not the 13th. Luna says, Supernatural is a great series. You'll have to check out my interview with C. Ernst Harth, because he was on Supernatural. Super duper awesome dude. And that interview was so much fun. So definitely check it out. It is on my Sydney Author Facebook page. So definitely check that out. Tanya says there will be some grandma baby time later. Oh, that's so sweet. That's so sweet. Because that's great, because then it's like you get the snuggles and then it's like your turn. That's awesome. So you definitely enjoy those baby cuddles too when you get them later. And then my train just crashed again. So I'm going to take a little sip. Everybody grab your water, your adult beverage, your soda, whatever you have, and get a little sippy sip. So if you are just joining us this evening, thank you for hopping on. I missed you guys last week. Just a quick recap. I was up in New York State and not able to hop on, and I was really sad about it. So I'm really glad you guys are back this week with me. And I have a new laptop, and it's a little, I don't know if it's the laptop or if it's my StreamYard, which is the platform that I use to broadcast, but it's a little glitchy. Like I have to click everything multiple times. So what I had done was I uploaded some things for us to do as far as like a little kind of game. So hopefully I will be able to still do this. Ooh. Luna Projects finished her haze beer. It was a Honey Crisp apple cider. How fall is that? Honey Crisp apple cider. That sounds like Halloween to me. Awesome. All right, so to switch gears, a couple weeks ago we did a portion of like a 30-day song challenge, and it was a lot of fun. So I thought I would look up a different one, and maybe we could do like another song challenge. So put your answers in the comments, please. Our first question is a song with a location in the title. So I have a couple off the bat, but I want to see what you guys come up with, and then I will add my 2 cents. Because there's just so many songs over the years that reference locations, but they're not all in the title. So that's where it gets a little trickier. Oh, here's Luna Projects with Hotel California. Good one. I like that one. And that kind of goes with the kind of spooky theme too, because you can check out anytime you like, but you can never leave. So, and Sweet Home Alabama, another good one. Excellent. So the first one I thought of was Santa Monica by Everclear, because that was a classic one from the 90s. And then I had also thought of On the Way to Cape May, which is a popular one in this area of the country because of everybody going down the shore. And, obviously that's like the theme song of Cape May, New Jersey. So every summer there's commercials and radios, programs use it and everything to promote Cape May. So that was the second one that I thought of. And Luna says, I recently played that on my list. You're still doing the 30-day challenge, or I think you're doing like the 180-day challenge because you've been doing it for a while. But that's fun. I like doing the song challenges because they're just something fun to do. Oh, yes. All right. So Tanya says Margaritaville. Classic. Rest in peace, Jimmy Buffett. So, okay. Luna's doing a year-long song challenge. That's cool. That'll keep you busy. I wonder, wow, can you send that to me? I can't imagine coming up with 365 different questions about songs. So that's pretty cool. I like that a lot. There was another song. See, I keep thinking like Winslow, Arizona, but that's in the song. That's not the name of the song. So that's how it's like they get you. But there's well, Streets of Philadelphia by Bruce Springsteen's about Philly, and Philadelphia Freedom is about Philly, because I'm kind of like picturing the country and seeing what I can come up with as you travel. Um, there's a song called Kansas City too, isn't there? I'm going to Kansas City, here I come. I think it's just called Kansas City. I feel like there's probably like New York, like every major city probably has a song named after it. Like Detroit, Rock City. Cool. Let's see what the next question would be. A song you don't understand. Now, you can take this as you don't understand what they're saying, or you don't understand why it was written. I'll let you answer it either way. Because the first song that popped into my head when I saw this was that Kanye West Scoopity Poopity Whoops. I don't understand why that was ever written. I don't understand why electricity was used and people paid for the electricity for said thing to power a studio for someone to say poopity scoop, scoopity whoop, or whatever else nonsense that is. So that's my song that I don't understand. Oh, Luna says there's a song Billy Joel has that lists a bunch of cities. Well, he has Allentown, but that's the only city in that song. And we didn't start the fire. It was, yeah, she just said it. We didn't start the fire list people and places. Let's see, Harry Truman, Doris Day, Red China, Johnny Ray, South Pacific, Walter Richard, DiMaggio, Paul McCartney, Richard Nixon, Studio Baker Television, North Korea, South Korea, Marilyn Monroe. Right, but that's not the title though. So, but you're right, it does list a whole bunch of songs in there. And Tanya says for songs that she doesn't understand, just about anything sung by Stevie Nicks. Beautiful voice, but she doesn't enunciate clearly. I am going to agree with you there, because I used to think Edge of 17 was about a one-winged dove, and I just pictured it flying in circles because it only had one wing, and I didn't understand why she was singing about. And I didn't understand both things. I didn't understand the words, and I didn't understand why there would be a dove with one wing flying around in circles. So yes, that is a good answer. And there's a lot of songs that they just are spitting out the words so fast that sometimes they're not understandable. Or there's certain singers that sound like they have a mouthful of marbles, and it's kind of like, wait, what did they say? So my dad has a book of, misheard lyrics, and, some of them are, there's a bathroom on the right, like some of the classic ones. But somebody had Private Dancer by Tina Turner, and instead of Deutschmarks or dollars, it was stretch marks for dollars. And I'm like, I feel attacked. Okay, Tanya says that she always hears wide-winged dove. See, neither one of us pictured a white-winged dove. I had a one-winged dove, you had a wide-winged dove. That's funny. Luda says, trying to think of songs I don't understand. I don't understand why some people listen to certain music. That's true too. Like some of it to me, I just don't understand. But I'm sure my parents said the same thing about the music that I listened to. Like, I'm sure that generationally there's differences. And I do listen to a lot of modern music as well as older stuff. But there's some stuff I'm just like, I don't get this at all. It's just not my jam. And trying to think right now of like, when my kids were little, there were certain things that they wanted to listen to, and I'd just be like, no. And not that there was anything wrong with it. I just didn't want to hear it. So then there was other stuff they would listen to. I'm like, okay, this is pretty cool. And my youngest actually has introduced me to a lot of newer bands. And also we have very similar musical tastes. So I'm lucky that, I can go to concerts and stuff with her. All right. So A song that describes how you are feeling right now, right this second. Put your answers in the comments. Let's see. Think of a song that describes how I'm feeling right now. It would be kind of like, you know, stereotypical, but Happy by Pharrell, because I'm on here with you guys. That would be a good one. What about you guys? What are you feeling right now? See if you can come up with a song that matches it, because that's the hardest part is, okay, what song matches my mood? And sometimes you hear a song and like it can mean different things at different times of your life. Like something that used to be a love song now makes you sad because of whatever happened, you know. So it's interesting that sometimes a song can give you a certain feeling, and then the same song can give you a completely different feeling depending on what you're going through in your life. So let's see. Nobody's feeling anything right now. Okay, well, if you're watching this after the live, feel free to add your comments too, because this can just keep living on forever on the internet. Just keep answering. All right, let's see. I had a couple more. A song you hated but now love. For me, let's see here. And Tanya says, Home Sweet Home by Motley Crue hits my heart because my daughter and granddaughter came home from the hospital today. Yay! Congratulations! That's so awesome. Very awesome. I'm so happy for you. That is so great. Babies are so squishy little love bugs. That's awesome. So, and that's a great choice too with Home Sweet Home. And that song now reminds me of Hot Tub Time Machine. Like, just popped into my head. I'm sorry. You guys know mind to mouth. I think it, I say it, I can't help it. So a song that I hated but now love, I would say, let me say, I'm going to look it up so I don't call it the wrong thing. But I'm 90, ooh, balls. No, I'm not. I'm going to hit the wrong thing on my phone. Let's see. Yeah, it is just called Bang Bang by Green Day. I went through a phase where I did, like, when Dookie first came out, had the CD, loved it. Hidden Track was my favorite. Then all that I heard 24/7 was Green Day for many years after that. And as much as I liked the band, I was just sick of them. I was sick of them. And so then my daughter liked them and played them all the time, and I couldn't. But now that I haven't heard them 24/7 for a few years, I'm starting to like them again, and I do really like Bang Bang. I like that song. Oh yeah, that's the other way, going from a song that you love to you hate, then that's sad too. Like, I hate when that happens. But yeah, there's a couple more songs I'm trying to think. Like when they first came out, I just like the whole One More Light album by Linkin Park. When it first came out, I was like, no, I don't like this. And now I love the whole album. But when it first came out, I just wasn't into it at all. And Tanya says, there's a song on a Def Leppard album, hated it but love it now. That could be so many songs. They have many albums. If you can remember the title, type it in, because I love Def Leppard, and I would love to know which song it was. Because we used to sing like everything from Hello America all the way through. Oh my God, yes. Okay. Gods of War on Hysteria. I love that song. I still listen to that song every week. It's on my like songs, and like it comes up at least once a week. I love that song. I love that whole album actually. Okay, and Luna says the only one that she can think of is Lenny Kravitz doing American Woman. She hated it when it came out. Agreed. They used to play that at work all the time, and they used to play the original one, but then when the Lenny Kravitz one came out, it was kind of like, I don't know, they just played it into the ground. It's kind of like The one place that I worked at, the owner just loved All Summer Long by Kid Rock, and we'd have to hear it like 6 times a night. And every time it got to the smoking funny things part, he'd like hunt you down, like smile at you and be like, smoking funny like my husband and I still do that to this day when the song comes on because I could just see Eddie. I was like, what is it? And I think any song, even your favorite song, can get played into the ground and be like, come on now, like I need a break from it. So yeah, and Luna's saying the same about hated it when it came out, but liked it when it died in popularity. That was me with like Green Day, like I was saying. It was overexposure, and it gets to be like grinding after a while if you hear it over and over and over again. But then when you get that little break, sometimes it's like, okay, I like it again. And Tanya says that album has been in my car CD player since I bought the car. I love it, and I play it at least once a week. I love the Hysteria album by Def Leppard. Let's see. Okay, and Luna says, another song I used to love but now hate is Hoobastank, The Reason. I bought their CD, but I can't stand it now. I like that song, but I don't listen to it that often. And I like, what's Hoobastank's other song? Dang it, I know it. I know they have another song that was popular. Hoobastank. Crawling in the Dark. I like that song too. They're the only 2 songs I know from Hoobastank, but they used to play it. There's a radio station around here, and it has like the like, it's not computerized, but it's the announcer voice in between the songs instead of a DJ sometimes, and it'll announce the title and artist that you just heard. And when this very nice woman who usually says, like Madonna, Cherish, and then you just hear Hoobastank. And I about fell out of the car. I'm like, oh my God, Hoobastank. It just cracks me up. So I think of that whenever I hear Hoobastank, which again, how many times can I say Hoobastank tonight? We shall see. But they're also in my like songs, so they come up. But that's the thing with Spotify, like their shuffle is not a true shuffle because it plays the same stuff all the time. And I'm like, okay, I have like 1,500 songs on this playlist. Why are you playing the same 8 every day? Let's pick something else. So yeah, I'm trying to think. There were other songs that like my kids would play when they were little, and I was like, no, and now I like them. But I can't think of those right now. So let's go on to the last song question, which is name a song you first heard this month. So what's a new song that you don't necessarily have to like it, but just a song that you only discovered this month? And I have one. And again, my brain is tired, so I'm going to my Spotify to remember the name of the band, which is they are coming to play. Okay. I know the first line of the song. Okay, the band is Nothing More, and the song is If It Doesn't Hurt. And I really like that one. I've been playing it over and over again, even though I couldn't think of the name of it. But I do like that song, and I only heard it this past month because next week, the local rock station's yearly concert is coming up, and it's like a festival show, and they're playing there. So they've been playing it on the radio, and I like that song a lot. I know like the MTV, the VMAs were yesterday. Isn't that what they're called? Yeah, the Video Music Awards. When are they playing video music? Like, when are they playing music videos? I mean, hello, dyslexia. How can you have Video Music Awards when you don't really play music videos anymore? Because you're still doing Teen Mom and My Ex Island or whatever the hell that stuff is. Like, did anybody watch the VMAs? I did not watch the VMAs. I didn't even I'm so confused. But yeah, like I'm not that hip on a lot of new music, but that song I do like, and if you have an opinion on Linkin Park's new singer, you can put that in the comments as well. I was very surprised um, when they announced that they had a new singer. Um, and I like her voice. I heard the song once so far. So I told my daughter, I'm like, I need to listen to it a few more times before I have an opinion on it. Because right now, it's all right. But, like there's songs that I'll hear the first time and not like or be indifferent to, and then wind up loving after a few listens. So I'm giving it a fair shot. Um, that's a good point. So Luna says that's why I've been doing the year thing, so I can look at videos, some I've never seen and some I haven't seen in years. So if you're just joining us, Luna Projects is doing a year-long song challenge. So like she's answering these kind of questions every day and then putting the music video to it in her post as well. So that's pretty cool that you're getting to check out new videos. When I was driving last Thursday, my friend and I were talking about songs and music videos. And she mentioned a video that had a moon in it that got hit by a rocket. And the first thing that popped into my head, again, my brain is a very, very strange place, was Don't Answer Me by the Alan Parsons Project. And I'm fairly certain that that music video has a rocket that gets the moon in the eyeball, like the face on the moon. So then I had to like listen to the song. I haven't listened to that song in 30 years. I don't know how it was still living in a brain cell, especially that much of the music video. Like, why would I remember that? But it popped into my head when she said something about a rocket hitting a moon. So there are like some really good music videos or ones that you remember for whatever reason. Like we used to watch that music video all the time because it was like a comic strip and it was kind of like the old like film noir, with the PI and the damsel, like kind of thing. But I always like the comic strip or comic book art that was in there. I always found that fun to watch that video. Oh, hey, my friend Darren says, hi, hugs, just pop in. I think it's supposed to be in and out work. You got to go back to work. But thank you for hopping in and saying hi. Love you, my friends. But yeah, there's just certain videos that to this day, I remember the little minute details of like, I brought this up on Saturday's podcast that in the Living in Sin video by Bon Jovi, there's one part where he like crosses himself and when he gets to here, he goes and he like hiccups. And I still remember that. Like, I don't know why I remember that. Or I remember in the Love Bites video by Def Leppard, there's one part where Rick Savage says Love Bites and his tongue is like I watched that a lot. I love that video. But there were just certain parts we would just rewind because they were so funny and it just has stuck in my brain. I say all the time, if I use my brain cells for like science or, like things like that, I could take over the world. But instead, it's full of music videos and song lyrics and stupid shit. But it's fun. Like we used to watch another Def Leppard video, Animal. My favorite part of that was at the very end, there's a zebra and he just goes like, like at the end of the video, we used to watch the zebra all the time. It was so cute. But I loved hair bands. I still do. Like Def Leppard and Skid Row and Motley Crue and all the class Poison. Love them, love them, love them. And they will always hold a special place in my heart. And some people tease me about it and I don't care. I don't care. They had fantastic leggings and big hair and had better makeup than me. So it's a very special time in my life. I love that music. And there's still like, with Jack Russell from Great White recently passing away and all, it's kind of, kind of makes you think, and Eddie Van Halen passing away, like some of the big names that we don't have with us anymore. I'm just grateful that their music is still living on and that we'll always have that because that just transports you back into time. You know, like you hear songs like that and you just remember where you were and what you were doing and who you were doing it with. You know, like I I still like when I hear um, Appetite for Destruction. I'm in Washington, D.C. on the eighth grade trip, blaring that on a boombox in front of the Washington Monument. You know, like just we played it on repeat. And so certain things like that. That's why I love when we do these music topics because it's very personal and we all have our own musical memories. And I think it's a great way to transport back in time, you know, that some of us have sad ties to certain songs that others of us have great ties to, and it's nice to exchange the stories. Tanya says, "I'm still mourning Steve Clark." Absolutely, when he died, that was so sad. And I've heard like Joe and Rick Allen and all say there is no curse of Def Leppard, and in the grand scheme of things, it was one auto accident and then Steve passing, but still, like I feel like they've been through a lot because those are big things. And I love that Rick Allen was like, no harm, no problem. I can still be a drummer. Like he kicks ass. And now he's a painter. He like goes on tour with his art and he's been down the Jersey Shore a couple times. I would love to get, I'm pointing like, is that even east? I think I'm pointing at Philly. I'm going the wrong way. Wherever the Jersey Shore is from here. I would love to go down and see his art sometime because I think that's fantastic that he didn't let that stop him. So let's see. Luna says, I was the second person who bought the cassette at the local record store of Appetite for Destruction. That's pretty badass. That is awesome. And I just remember my brother had it like when it first came out in '87 before anybody knew who Guns N' Roses was. And he would play it and I'm like, that's pretty cool. And then like when it blew up, it was like, oh, I know this stuff. I've been listening to this for a while. And when they came out with Lies and the radio station played Patience for the first time, they cut it off like at that pause. And I called up and I'm like, can I make a request? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, I request you play the rest of Patience. And the guy's like, I know. Like the DJ was like, oh, okay, whatever. Yeah. But I was like, you missed half the song. Because that's like, I'm not going to do it into the microphone. I'm not going to do my Axl Rose for you guys because I love you. But I just used to harass the DJs all the time too because I'd just be like, can I make a request and request something completely random? And they'd be like, no. And they got to know my voice after a while and they'd just be like, because I don't think there was caller ID back then. Maybe there was in radio stations and that's how they knew. But I used to request all the weird stuff. But Appetite is still a stand-up album. And my dad confiscated no less than 5 copies of that from me because I wasn't allowed to have it. And I kept getting it anyway. Let's see. Luna says, I love doing the whistling part in Patience. That's awesome. If you can do it. I used to be able to whistle. I can't really do it anymore. Like it's weird. I can whistle inhaling better than I can exhaling, which is kind of stupid. Oh, and Luna says, I worked in radio and we didn't have caller ID in the 90s. Okay, cool. I wouldn't think so, but the technology might have been in businesses before it was in homes. So I didn't want to make an ass out of all of us and assume. But I still have like the cassettes that you used to make mixtapes where you'd like record off the radio. And I have a couple of them of me introducing the songs in the nightly countdown. Did you guys have that where you grew up where they'd have like the top 5 of the day or the top 3 of the day and they'd do the countdown every night? And randomly the one song that I did the intro for the countdown was Giant, I'll See You in My Dreams. Do you guys remember that song? That's a random one. Gonna have to add that to my liked songs. Let's see. She says, oh, we did record the incoming calls on a reel-to-reel. Wow. My dad might still have a reel-to-reel. He used to make these recordings. He and my godfather, who was my dad's college roommate, that's how they met and then stayed friends until my godfather passed away a couple of years ago, unfortunately. But He was a funny, funny dude. And they did this whole recording on the reel to reel that they were in the jungle. And, and they're like, like making noises like they're going through and everything. And they come across this sleeping bear. And it was my mom snoring, and they recorded her on the reel to reel. That's just not nice, but it was funny. Let's see. Tanya says, the top 40 station here did a top 10 request for the day at 9 p.m. Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. So I kind of figured it was a nationwide thing, that whatever songs they got the most requests for the day, they'd count them down. And yep, and Luna's saying Casey Kasem American Top 40. That was on Saturday, though. You had to wait. That was only once a week. But the local radio stations would do the daily one. And then there was also, who was the other one that was like, he was kind of like Casey Kasem, Rick Dees. Rick Dees Weekly Top 40. He had the countdown, too. I wonder if he and Casey Kasem ever like had a knockdown throw, like, I'm the top 40 guy. No, I am. Nobody could ever beat Casey Kasem. And then I feel like somebody else took it over after those guys did, but they were the two I remember being like the big syndicated nationwide shows where Casey Kasem and Rick Dees doing the weekly top 40. And it was always so fun to listen to. I still to this day love countdowns. Like the local rock station here is just wrapping up. It might have wrapped up today because it started on the 1st, I believe, and they call it the A to Z. And they do their like a chunk of their archives because they have so many tens of thousands of songs. There's no way they could do all of them, but they do them in alphabetical order from A to Z. And it's really interesting hearing songs you haven't heard in a million years or never heard before. They played a cover of Cruel Summer by Evanescence, and I never heard that before, and it's beautiful. And it's not on Spotify. So I need to try and find that because I love Amy Lee's voice, and the cover was just beautiful. Let's see what's going on in the comments. We've got, didn't Friday night videos have something too, like top videos? There was it wasn't Friday Night Lights because I think that's sports, but it was something like that because I accidentally taped it on a VHS. But I know what you're talking about. Oh, and Tanya says 80s on 8 does his old countdowns, but with the original VJs. Awesome. So I'm guessing that's on Sirius XM because they have 80s on 8. I don't have Sirius, but when they have their free weekends, that's one of the stations I like to check out, the 80s on 8, 90s on 9. All of those different things. Yes, Shadow Stevens took over for Casey. Thank you, Tanya. I could not think of his name. But yes, I do remember Shadow Stevens. And Wolfman Jack was doing like some sort of countdown. Like he had a syndicated show for a little bit, but I don't remember specifically what he did. And Luna says WGRR on the weekends plays old American top 40s from specific years. I think that would be so fun because I remember getting so mad when the song I wanted to be number one wasn't, and it was like, oh, why aren't you number one? Night Tracks didn't. Let's see, Friday night. Okay, was that the Friday Night Tracks? Let's see, but I think it was Friday Night Videos. I know when MTV started up, they had a thing. Oh, was Friday Night Videos on MTV? Because what I'm thinking of was a separate show. It was separate from MTV, but it was like a Friday night video countdown, but I can't remember the name of the show. No. Are we talking videos or are we talking a radio countdown? It was on NBC. Yes, that's the one I'm thinking of. Okay. Gotcha. Yeah, it was on one of the networks. I don't know for sure if it was NBC, but I remember it was on one of the major networks. And they would show videos, and sometimes they would show things a little bit different than MTV. So it made it more interesting because it wasn't the same thing. Friday Night Videos. Yes, see, it was that complicated name. That's why I couldn't come up with it. But yeah, it was just Friday Night Videos. I do remember that. That's really cool. And I used to love, they'd have like Hard 60 and then Hard 30, and they'd have a countdown where they would show the week's best like hair metal videos, because I remember them going through and they'd show like a little clip of each video in the middle of the show. So I remember that too. I don't think they ever did anything like that on Headbangers Ball though, but they'd have Hard 60 and Hard 30 on in the middle of the day, because it started out as Hard 60 and then they were like, no one needs that much rock music. And they cut it in half, much to my chagrin, because I would have liked it to be Hard 24/7. And you can take that however you want. Okay, look, it's about time to call this a night. But I love you guys, and I am so, so happy that you hopped on here with me tonight to discuss Friday the 13th and discuss more movies and music. And you guys are awesome. I appreciate you hopping on with me. And again, I missed you so much last week. So I can't wait to see what we're talking about next week, because I never know. And that's what's so fun about the show is you guys make this. Like, I just come on and start talking, and then the conversation goes where it goes. So please feel free to share this on your pages when, it's coming out. I'm also considering maybe going to Wednesdays. So chime in if that's something that you would still be able to come on and see. Because one of my besties has a show on the same time as this one. So I thought maybe we could separate, because we have a lot of friends in common. So if Wednesdays would work for you guys, let me know. I might switch to that. But again, good night to you guys. I love you so much, and I will see you next week. Remember, when life throws stuff at you, you got to take it head on, because if you stick your head in the sand and think you're hiding from your problems, the rest of the world just sees a big ass. Love you.